Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back in another video. Hope everyone's well wherever you are. I suppose really, as much as I would love for as many people as possible to watch my videos, this video really, or these series of videos, are really for football fans, especially fans of Italian football and Fiorentina in particular. And I suppose also for neurodiverse people with dyslexia or ADHD or whatnot, because as someone who's neurodiverse with dyslexia and dyspraxia, I hope that my quirky creative ideas will be helpful in the future. So hopefully people with learning disabilities will also be interested in this video. But again, I suppose it's mainly for fans of football, especially Fiorentina itself, or Italian football generally. Anywho, with that being said, I hope people out there enjoy it. And again, I'd love for as many people as possible to watch my videos and support my videos and support my channel. So I do welcome all views, but I suppose that's the main target market. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling. And here goes. So as I say, this is continuing on from parts 1 and 2. So please check them out if you haven't already done so. And I hope this makes as much sense as possible. As ever, I welcome your comments, questions, queries, anything you want to comment, basically, and that sort of thing, and constructive criticism to help me to improve, and also positive points of view, which will hopefully inspire and encourage me. So anyway, I'd love to know what you think, and please give me any likes, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel and things like that. I'd really appreciate that, and especially as it's my birthday in 3 days' time, as I mentioned before. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling. Here goes. So number 21. I'd love for people to find out about the history of Fiorentina. And again, if you're a Fiorentina fan, what would you like people to know about the history of your club, like when it was founded? I know people could probably find out this information on Google or YouTube, but again, if you do want to post in the comments any Fiorentina fans or any fans of football generally, or people who might want to find, who might know information about Fiorentina, please post any such in the comments below, especially from Fiorentina fans or anyone with an interest in, let's say, in football. That's what, or even information about Florence, or what the football club means to Florence and things like that. And if you're a Fiorentina fan, what the club means to you, and what it can learn from history. Another thing is, I nearly forgot to say, I'd love to know who you think are the best players who have ever played for Fiorentina. Like I imagine Gabriel Batistuta from Argentina will probably be the number one, but I'd love to know if there's any other players that I might not have heard of. Moving on. 22. I'd love to see what do you think the club could do in the future? Again, how could it attract investment, increased investment, and encourage investors to continue to invest, sponsors and partners as well, and all that. Anyone who can put money into the club, including possibly the fans making donations to the club, or at least investing in the club, or things like that. I'd love to know any ideas what you think could benefit the club, as I mentioned in parts 1 and 2. Number 23, I'd love for Fiorentina to have a foundation, but do you think, again, if you're a Fiorentina fan or a fan of football just generally, especially Italian football, do you think Fiorentina should have its own foundation if it doesn't already have one? Does it already have a foundation? And if not, could it already have one? Again, I'd love to hear any information about that, and also ideas about what the foundation could fundraise for, possibly improving relations with developing nations in developing countries, having academies and sports clubs in developing countries, and especially in parts of Africa and Asia and the Americas and Australasia and around the world, including possibly in Europe as well, of course, but especially in Italy as well, to develop younger players. Number 24, how do you think the club could help more younger Italian players to practice, like give them opportunities, fundraise again for things like academies, not just buying better players, but also developing better players through the academies, possibly more patient. I think that's a dilemma for a modern football club. Certainly a dilemma, what I think about, like as a fan of Italian football generally, and Celtic, like what balance should you have between developing younger players and at the same time ensuring that you have the best players for now, so like you can have short-term success and longer-term success. How do you give younger players opportunities? I think all Italian teams, as well as Celtic, should always have at least 3 under-21 players. In Italian football's case, I think there should be Italian players preferably, or as many Italian players as possible, younger players as well, especially so they can come off the bench and get lots of game time and opportunities to practice. And in training, normally I like to keep this idea secret, but in training, I think they should be encouraged to try, especially the midfielders and the strikers, to try different skills and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and things like that. Number 25, again, I know this is probably a very naive idea, but I know I mentioned in part one, I wonder if like France could invest in, I suppose a silly reason perhaps, but due to my patterns and alliterations, or including alliterations, I would love for countries that begin with F, as well as companies, Fortune 500 companies, famous people, celebs or whatever, and all that kind of thing, to invest in Fiorentina, to invest in the club, as well as town teams generally. But in Fiorentina's case, ones that begin with F, as it's like alliteration, and things like that. And again, it could improve relations, as France is a Mediterranean republic with a tricolor flag, just like Italy is. Moving on, number 26. Do you think Fiorentina should, and if so, how do you think they could give back to some of the countries that Italy colonized? I know I often mention that idea. Number 27. Who are the biggest contributors to Fiorentina? And maybe in the future there could be like lists online, including on YouTube, on websites and things like that, which list, maybe even on Instagram and other forms of social media, which list the top contributors, whether that's people who coach younger players, or managers, or coaches, or whatnot, or both, obviously, or anyone involved in the club who helps the club to win trophies, or at least become as successful as possible, and investors, especially, who put money into the club to buy better players and to develop the academies. So I'd love to see a list of the top contributors, possibly top 30 or 40 or even 100 or whatever, and then it could be there could be shorter lists which are narrowed down, which would hopefully encourage people to invest in the club for their PR and things like that. As I'd love to see multi-company or even country ownership of Italian football teams, and maybe even if some investors start losing money or pulling money out, like happened with other clubs, including Fiorentina and Parma themselves. Others, the fact that if there's so many sponsors, then hopefully at least some of them will remain, and if their companies are doing better, then there will still be that investment there. If that makes sense. Number 28. Again, Fiorentina narrowly escaped death, as they say in football, because they had to restart because they lost all their finances. But again, I think having multi-company ownership, many co-owners, investors, sponsors, partners, and that sort of thing, and hopefully making lots of videos and helping them to, like, Googling Fiorentina and helping people to find out about them. I wonder if that would help, like, raise the brand value and through like helping Fiorentina to trend and that sort of thing, which I hope will help the club's financial longevity. But I also hope, as I say, the club will do a lot for charities in developing countries included, and for poor people around the world, basically, for the poorest 10% of people in all possible countries, and also for things like animal rights, and just making the world a better place generally, looking after nature and things like that, and again, animals and young people and that sort of thing. So I'd love to see what the club could do as a club. As I often say, like, with great power comes great responsibility. So I think if Fiorentina and other town teams as well as Celtic make a lot of money, which I hope they do, I hope they will donate at least 10% of that to, well, let's say 10% of that to foundation. Some of that could be like to build sports clubs and academies in other countries as well, let's say in developing countries, which will hopefully help develop players in those countries as well, like parts of Africa and Asia and that sort of thing. Number 29. I often talk about like the dyslexic billionaires and should call like now even neurodiverse billionaires together. But so I'd love to see my fellow, fortunately I'm not a dyslexic billionaire, but I'd love to see my fellow neurodiverse people, especially those who are more wealthy, donating to Fiorentina and other town teams and Celtic and showing what we can do. And hopefully that will show how neurodiverse people can be successul. And number 30, again, I'd love to hear your ideas and which are your least or most favorite ideas in these videos, and in this video, specifically. And yeah, I know I do my videos live, and I don't edit them because I hope that makes me kind of unique. Well, I know it makes me unique, but hopefully some people will enjoy that sort of unedited sort of thing. But again, I'd love to hear your constructive criticism and hopefully positive encouragement in some cases. And I am out. Peace and love.